Dasharatha Nandana Rama, Daya Sagara Rama. Dasharatha Nandana Rama, Daya Sagara Rama. Dasharatha Nandana Rama, Daya Sagara Rama. Dashamukha Mardana Rama, Daitya Kulantaka Rama. Dashamukha Mardana Rama, Daitya Kulantaka Rama. Lakshmana Sevita Rama, Sita Vallabha Rama. Lakshmana Sevita Rama, Sita Vallabha Rama. Sukshma Swarupa Rama, Sundara Rupa Rama. Sukshma Swarupa Rama, Sundara Rupa Rama. Dasharatha Nandana Rama, Daya Sagara Rama. Dasharatha Nandana Rama, Daya Sagara Rama. Daya Sagara Rama, Daya Sagara Rama. पूंछ पांछ कर पूछ सुधारो, पूंछ पांछ कर पूछ सुधारो, पति पहचान.
We will be celebrating Ram Hanuman Jayanti, and one of the highlighted theme is the role of Hanuman. Lord Hanuman is infinite spiritual strength, and as that strength develops, with strength of faith, these are synonyms. Call it spiritual strength, call it strength of faith. Sanskrit word Shraddha. Hanuman's strength of faith in a storyline paved the way for Rama's success by burning down Lanka. His tail was inflamed, and he shook his tail all over Lanka, swept away all that is combustible. People, whatever they had from their kitchen, they tied up to his tail. And Hanuman was not shaken up. So that Shraddha is demonstrated by that role of Hanuman. The next role is celebrated by Angada. Angada is sent prior to the battle to start and demonstrated the strength of trust. That's called Vishwas. So whenever we talk of Shraddha, Shraddha must extend into Vishwas. Shraddha is general faith. Like in a medical process, there is a general project to help every patient. But when you have joined hospital, you are now sent to specialized doctors, surgeons. So Shraddha movement becomes more specialized and focused in Angada's role, who sits on his tail and places his leg with such firmness that no one can shake it. And that tail is called Poonch. So now listen to one of spiritual poems of mine. Poonch Paanch Kar Pooch Sudharo, Pati Pahchano, Aankh Ugharo. Jai Shri Hanuman Ji. Pooch Pasaro, Shakti Sancharo, प्रबल बेग से शत्रु पछाड़ो, जय श्री अंगद जी। कहत ज्योतिर्मय, राम राम जयकार करो, श्री राम में सतत विश्राम करो, जय श्री राम जी। Wiping out impurities, bring clarity in your inquiring mind. Pooch term is inquiry. Pooch means ask. You tell someone in a conflict with somebody, and then the wise advice is given. Ask that person this question. Inquire, but within an artistic way, in a broad, in a profound way. That's what you have to do. And you see your life filled with so many problems. Bring Pooch in your inquiring mind. That spiritual questioning. And gain insight into the divine Lord. Open your eyes. When you Pooch, then inquiry gives you an answer. That answer is revelation into Ram, revelation into truth. Mind has to go through two stages, inquiring and then understanding. Inquiry is coming to completion. What you have been inquiring about, never found it. From inquiring mind to finding it, your pathway has to be clear. Clearing the pathway is folk term Paanch. Poonch Paanch. The term is used in kitchen especially. So many vessels are there, and who ask those who are working on that. Some vessels need to be just wiping. Some need rubbing. So rubbing, wiping, this allegorical process of dealing with your mala, gross impurities. The more you do Pooch Paanch, the more your inquiring process becomes clearer. So Poonch Paanch Kar, Pooch Sudharo. By wiping, rubbing, allow your inquiry to be effective. So all that has come into these simple words. Poonch Paanch Kar, Pooch Sudharo. Pooch Pasaro. Inquiring process shouldn't stay like a small tail of a monkey. It should extend. Reach out to every part of Lanka. So the reaching out to every part, pasaro, spread it, stretch it out. The start here, inquiry should stretch out. You are inquiring about so many things. Stretch out and ask, who am I? What can I do to realize I am? In the storyline, what can I do to let Rama win? So that's project is called Poonch Sudharo. You are straightening the path leading to fulfillment of inquiry. Poonch pasaro shakti sancharo. And the more you stretch your inquiry going to deeper subtlety, who am I? Then Shakti Sancharo, along with it goes strength of faith. You are asking, who am I? Not for treating your headache, not for treating your little troubles, but the troubles that come to you from life to life, the trouble of mortality. So, you need dynamic strength. The dynamic strength is Prabal Beg. And with that strength, defeat all the enemy. The forces of darkness come under the dread of immense strength of Angada. Jai Shri Angad Ji. The final stage, Ram Ram Jayakar Karo. Now you have witnessed the victory of Rama. Your Rama worship has become absolutely fulfilled. Your name Ram has become awakened. Mantra Chaitanya Jagrat ho gaya. As a result, internally you are constantly resting in Ram. That rest nobody can take away. This is Sthita Prajna. You become rooted in the understanding. Aham Brahmasmi. In that understanding is Rama, Vishram, Viram. The whole world stops. The stopping process called Viram. Resting process called Aram. Profounder rest, Vishram. So any aspect of rest is Ram, Ram, Ram. Ram, Ram, Jayakar. Hari Om.
पूंछ पांछ कर पूछ पूंछ पांछ कर पूछ सुधारो पूंछ पांछ कर पूछ सुधारो पति पहचानो आँख उघारो पति पहचानो आँख उघारो पूछ पाँच कर पूछ सुधारो पूछ पाँच कर पूछ सुधारो पति पहचानो आँख उघारो पति पहचानो आँख उघारो जय श्री हनुमान जी जय श्री हनुमान जी पूछ पसारो शक्ति संचारो पूछ पसारो शक्ति संचारो प्रबल बेग से शत्रु पछारो प्रबल बेग से शत्रु पछारो पूछ पसारो शक्ति संचारो पूछ पसारो शत्रु पछारो। जय श्री अंगद जी, जय श्री अंगद जी। कहत ज्योतिर्मय राम राम जयकार करो। कहत ज्योतिर्मय राम राम जयकार करो। श्री राम में सतत विश्राम करो। श्री राम में सतत विश्राम करो। जय श्री राम जी, जय श्री राम जी, जय श्री राम जी।
Om Om Sri Ramaya Namah. Om Nilambujashyamalkomalangam Sita Samaropitavama Bhagam Panau Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Om Sri Ramaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Prasannatam Yanagatabhishekata तथा नमम्ले बनवास दुःखत मुखम्बुज श्री रघुनंदनस्य मे सदास्तु सा मंजुल मंगल प्रदा. May the cheerful face of Rama, which did not become more radiant when he was about to be coronated, nor did it lose its splendor when he was banished to the forest. May that lotus face of Rama bring tender delight and sweet auspiciousness in our lives day by day. This is a prayer by Sant Tulsidas that presents the most profound aspect of the message behind Ram Jayanti. Message behind Ram Jayanti is to gain that type of face which is expressed as face of Rama. And what quality of that face? When he was given the message that he was going to be coronated as the heir apparent to the throne, it made no change in his face. Nothing new is happening. And very next day, when he was banished, his face remained just the same. Simple message behind it. Can you maintain your face in adversity and prosperity without distorting it? Any suffering distorts your face in one way, and pleasure distorts it another way. Teeth begin to shine both ways. This is the highest goal of all religions of the world. discover, realize, soul, who are you? Who am I? That I am is not what your concept of I am is. Your concept is ego. Ego is not the I am. As long as ego is, you are related to ego, your face cannot show serenity. Shama, serenity, samadhan, that is the goal. And to give you a more shocking expression from Yoga Vasishtha, Patatyangar Varshecha Vati Malayanile Bhutale Vrajate Vyomni Shamam Aste Gya Atmani. Attain that state of mind, Patatya Angar Varshecha. If there is big calamity in the world, and all that is raining down is burning embers, burning fire, not hail. Even in that condition, you are not shaken. Or, if conditions change to positive, Malayanile, the whole world is filled with sandalwood trees and beautiful breeze is blowing, well scented by sandalwood. And you are just the same. One who has attained knowledge of the self, Shamam Aste, stays serene, unshaken. That's the goal of satsanga, the highest goal of life. And it may seem very shocking. Day by day, when you go to sleep, so many things are happening in the world. It doesn't matter to you. So don't think it requires a tremendous muscular strength to bear with adversities. The strength that is needed is strength of intuitional revelation of who am I. That's the goal. Let me do Hanuman Stotra and then I will go into more details. Atulit baladhamam hema shailabha deham danuj bankrishanum jnani namagraganyam sakal gunanidhanam vanaranam adhisham Raghupati priya bhaktam vatajatam namami. I adore Lord Hanuman, who is the abode of incomparable strength, whose body shines like a mountain of gold, who is fire unto the forest of demons, who is the chief among the wise, who is the beloved devotee of Bhagavan Ram, the son of wind god. Ram and Hanuman, they are intrinsic reality of every soul. Every soul is essentially Ram. And the mind that becomes dynamic by the awakening of faith, strength of Shraddha. That process of the mind, awakening of faith, and a dynamic result of divine faith, represented by Hanuman. Soul and Hanuman, soul and the Shraddha Shakti cannot be separated. And this Shraddha Shakti is awakened through your mind. But mind has to be touched by Rama. Mind is monkey. Therefore, all companions of Rama are monkeys and bears. Monkeys, mind-related movements. Mind is always shifting. And subtle desires in your mind that stay hibernating. They are the bears. So Rama with monkeys and bears. I will give you, because time being short, just give you the very essence. King Dasharatha is soul in every individual. Soul that has come to a very high stage of virtuous karma, matching with Indra according to the storyline. He helped Indra. That soul becomes the basis of two great movements for destroying ignorance, for attaining enlightenment. Those two great movements were represented by Kaikeyi's two fingers. That is, when Rama was being coronated, Kaikeyi, advised by Manthara, her hunchbacked servant, lady servant, she goes into the sulky house. And King Dasharatha, in order to appease her, goes there. And Kaikeyi asks two boons. There's a whole story. Boons were, Kaikeyi had reserved those boons. And Kaikeyi asks that instead of Rama, Bharata will be the king. Bharata is bhakti, devotion. And Rama will go into forest. Rama movement is jnana movement. Wisdom must move towards Ravana. Rama destroys Ravana. Ravana is ignorance. So, bhakti and jnana, these are the highlights of a spiritual movement. But for more understanding, bhakti is assisted by Shatrughna. King Dasharatha had 4 sons: Rama, Bharata, and Shatrughna and Lakshmana. Jnana, in these 4, Rama and Lakshmana go together. Jnana and Dhyana. Lakshmana is Raja Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, constant will arising out of meditation. And Shatrughna is Karma Yoga. Shatru, all the inimical aspects, impurities are enemies. Shatrughna is Karma Yoga. Put it in a very simple way. If you are practicing integral yoga, you are celebrating Rama Jayanti. Otherwise, you get wonderful prasad, that's all. Karma Yoga, your actions must go on purifying your mind. If you do it with proper attitude and understanding. Do not go on complaining about your circumstances. They are all presented in divine plan to help your karmic movement. And these are all challenges that enable you to go on overcoming anger, hate, greed. Because first stage of the challenge, you think you can accomplish the task. As you advance, you realize God is accomplishing the task through you. Now, therefore, your mind does not collect anger, hate, greed, revenge. All this begin to move away. So that's the role of Shatrugna, Karma Yoga. More purification, greater devotion. More devotion, greater purification. So on one aspect, this is the foundational aspect. Ayodhya is the foundation where Rama must return. That Ayodhya is ruled by Bharata and assisted by Shatrugna. So they stay in Ayodhya. Rama and Lakshmana, they go into forest in a storyline. Rama and Lakshmana, the Ram potentiality and your meditative potentiality, jnana and dhyana must not be sleeping and enjoying. They must get into a vital movement, which is also allegorically represented by Ravana has kidnapped Sita. Sita is Viveka Buddhi, intuitive intellect, the profound intuitive understanding that allows the soul to attain its self-realization. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma. That is Sita. Sita is kidnapped. Rama, with the help of army of monkeys and bears, first stage of Rama's story is integration of senses and mind and all the resources. And in that process, Hanuman comes in as a powerful help. Soul's most profound help is faith. Faith that becomes, as bhakti advances, faith becomes like a thunderbolt. Its strength is beyond your imagination. And faith has been awakened. Impossible term doesn't exist. Because you see things done by God. And when you plan and pray, you don't start calculating that I have done so many negative karmas, oh God, at least reduce 2 or 3. I don't want to give you trouble, just 2 or 3. If your prayer is like that, faith is lacking. When you have profound faith, despair has no room in your mind. So ultimately, Rama takes the plan to find Sita, Rama and Lakshmana, and they befriend Sugriva. Sugriva and Bali, they represent lower self and higher self. Bali is lower self, which has also come to a maturity in spiritual movement. Sugriva becomes the king, Bali is sublimated. Lower self, any demon or any negative force destroyed is actually short-circuited energy is corrected. There is nothing terrible No real killing is involved. Though the story is filled with killing and destroying and slaying, not one head but 10 heads, again and again. But that's the Vedic psychology. Masses always like to hear war and warriors, demons, amazing things. So the entire story is brought into this. So Rama ultimately destroys Ravana and is united with Sita. But in this project, Hanuman plays most vital part. It is Hanuman who crosses over the ocean to locate where Sita is. Ocean is the gap between your conscious and the unconscious. Unconscious is the residence of your ignorance, Ravana. And as long as Ravana is there, keeping Viveka Buddhi, intuitive knowledge, under his control, the soul cannot attain enlightenment. So therefore the project is, first Rama sends Hanuman in search of Sita. Hanuman crosses the ocean. Every stage in the Ramayana is full of mystical instructions and teachings. If you just focus on Sundarkand, how Hanuman crosses, it gives you essence of your spiritual sadhana. First thing, Hanuman, as he starts, Manak mountain rises from the ocean to welcome Hanuman. Hanuman doesn't fall for that welcome. It touches Manak and moves on. In other words, when you have started your sadhana, you don't start celebrating Siddhi. Wait, celebration will come later. Next obstacle that he faces is a demoniac personality, comes with a very open mouth. Name is Surasa. Literally meaning Surasa, wonderful taste. To this demoniac, everything is edible. If Surasa loves you because not you are good, etc., but because you will taste good. Hanuman, Surasa says, you have to enter my mouth. And I am hungry and you are my food, you cannot frustrate me. Hanuman now adopts a plan. He says, all right, eat me up. But now as Surasa opens her mouth and allows the mouth to become wider and wider, Hanuman makes himself double the opening. Just as Surasa Vadan Badhawa, Hanuman Dugun, double the size. What does that simply mean? In your life, every challenging situation is Surasa. The challenging situation has no pity for you. It likes you. Now, based on faith's strength, Hanuman's strength, try to be a little taller than what the challenging situation is. Measure the mouth. Put yourself double the size. But don't go through all the detailed mathematics. It should be automatic, spontaneous, sahaj. This goes on until Surasa becomes so gigantic. Then Hanuman simply becomes a small monkey, jumps into her mouth, plays around, does some head stand, shoulder stand. Surasa doesn't know what to do. Her mouth is so vast. It takes time to come. Hanuman emerges out of that and says, "Oh mother, I've done what you wanted. I've entered into a mouth." Now Surasa suddenly changes. She becomes a goddess, divine Devi. It says that I have been sent by gods to try you out, whether you are fit to do Rama's job or not. And you have succeeded. You have my blessings. Try to understand. So much message is there behind this type of story. First message, do not be thwarted, defeated by any situation, no matter how. Continue your self-effort with patience, with japa and surrender to God, and understand that your soul is going to triumph over it. That's the way soul's reality of the soul is to triumph. Soul is not ordinary, the ray of God. Now in this movement, in the storyline, Hanuman becomes a little in the end after going big, then suddenly. In practical line, blend both. Surrender to God is humility. Self-effort, becoming bigger. Surrender, becoming smaller. Blend both movement in facing challenges in life. And challenges are not always negative. Sometimes you have sudden fulfillment of your fancies. Lot of invitation have come to go to Hawaii or go to Alaska, meet big bears. How do you handle those distractions? And if suddenly prosperity has smiled, your mind becomes shaken. All these are challenges. You must be bigger than your material success. You should be bigger than material adversity. Hanuman gives you that message. And then Hanuman faces another, a demoness, Sannihita, who has the power to catch a reflection. And by catching a reflection, she controls the object, the creature whose reflection she has trapped. So if Hanuman is flying, she catches his reflection and Hanuman can't move. The role of vasana, subtle desires. Subtle desire and the objects of the world. Objects of the world are objects flying. Subtle desires are reflections. Desires are not the real object. But once you have built up a desire, object becomes your target. Object can be human beings and or any object. So that type of subtle illusion created by vasana, Hanuman destroys it. And finally Hanuman crosses the ocean. All this is most powerful episodes associated with Hanuman. All over India, Hanuman is worshipped for strength. Anywhere there is yoga classes or exercise classes, Hanuman is highlighted. And all houses have banner of the best banner, Hanuman. So, now I will give you some, without going to bigger details, all this is very vast. Ram mantra is Om Sri Ramaya Namah. I'll give you very simple. Om is Brahman. Sri is Goddess Lakshmi, giver of spiritual wealth. Ra, the Ram sound comes from your navel center, the Bijakshara root letter of Kriya Shakti. In languages, you must realize the beauty of language is there because of root letters. All languages can be so many types, vastly different. Root letters remain the same. No matter what language you speak, when you are expressing your joyousness, say wah, wah, wah. Ha, ha, ha. H sound, V sound, they exist in all languages. So Bijakshara, the root letters, Ra represents Kriya Shakti, navel center. Well, many details are there, you can go into studying there. In other words, with Ra you are awakening the fire within you, the energy of the soul. When the soul looks at the world with vairagya, it has a fire. But when the soul looks at the world with like a greedy rabbit, it doesn't have. Kriya Shakti has been dumped. That R sound, be a hero, run, rise, roam. Even Rome comes from the same Ram. Ramajan comes from the same Ram, Ramagyan. There isn't any religion which is without Ram. And even who are not religious, The whole world is full of Ram, Sinaram, Panoram. So, that's about R Bijakshara, Ra. Ma relate to Amrita, immortality, absolute bliss. And Ma is the most cooling sound, Mama, mother. And Ya is root letter of your heart. Therefore, when you are very satisfied, anything satisfying, say yummy, yummy, yummy. You don't realize the mantra yum has gone to form yummy. And Namah term always means Na is a negation. Ma, the illusion of me and mine. In Vedic culture, people meeting together say Namaste, Namah. They are actually turning the mind to the highest message. That when you adore anyone, or when you are being adored, God is being adored in you, God is being adored in the person before you. Neither me nor mine. All is divine. So that's how every mantra ends with Namah. Om Sri Ramaya Namah. Hanuman mantra follows similar. Om has the same meaning, absolute. Om is the root of all mantras. Because all that you can say through your mouth, from the throat to the lip, with O you open the throat, with M lips close. All that you can say is expressed by Om. And recitation of Om is touching, bringing all the root letters automatically in a very spontaneous way. It brings about a resonance of your entire spinal column. So, even if you don't have too much interest in philosophy, be gracious to your spine. And all will be fine. Sri term has gone all over the world. Sir, Senor, Senora, all this is Sri gone into variations. Subtle meaning behind it. You want to bless the name when you put Sri. But Sri blessing is the highest. You are blessing the name, may the name be blessed by Goddess Lakshmi. Goddess Lakshmi's blessing means, may this person gain Davi Sampat, divine wealth. May you be rich. Shouldn't be an ordinary person, should be Sir. But what makes you a Sir? If you have good qualities, not because of wealth. So the Sri term is that type of a blessing. implying you are when you practice your mantra, you have the intention, spiritual intention to develop divine virtues. And she is allowing you to, encouraging you in that direction. Ha, already explained to you, ha 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 ha. Ha is expansion. In Hanuman, ha is expansion. Nu term is namrata, self-effacement, humility. In a storyline, right now we don't have time for telling the whole story, but Hanuman as a baby, gone through a challenging situation. Indra hurled a bajra on his chin, and he got up broken chin. Chin up is a symbol of pride. Chin down is a symbol of humility. Don't take it literally. Hanuman is symbol of absolute freedom from abhiman. Abhiman is pride. That abhiman has become sublimated into Hanuman. And that type of power that arises out of Hanuman, out of humility, you must realize whom are you being humble towards? God. And since God is the reality in all, you are seeing God behind people and you are humble. That type of strength is Hanuman strength. And if you have that strength, you cannot measure it. You can't do any Hanuman, how much strength do I have? Hanuman is to measure the strength. You can't do that. Ma in Hanuman, Ma is again like Ram, nectar, bliss absolute. Te Hanumate, Te term is surrender to God. Namah already explained to you, neither me nor mine. I'm giving you some special episode from the Ramayana. But prior to that episode, let me explain to you Hanuman-Ram relation. Deha buddhya tu dasoham in Ramayana. Rama asked Hanuman, how am I related to you? And Hanuman gives a profound answer. Deha buddhya tu dasoham. To the extent I view myself as body, I am a slave, you are the master. And this is a teaching for everyone. As long as your body identity is strong, don't worry about it. Consider you are in the hands of God. You are slave of God. That slavery is the best. That doesn't need to be abolished. Jiva buddhya tadanshaka. From the point of view of the soul, if God is the sun, I am a ray of divine self. So allow your mind to work on that. Therefore, being a ray, don't fall for rowing. See, I'm talking about weeping. Don't fall for Rudan. You grieve when mind is overpowered by darkness. Ray, you are light of God. So no matter how things are, how complicated, that ray has to shine. So stick to that. And day by day, try to develop more and more. The mystical literature compete with God. If God is peaceful, you say, I will be also peaceful. The baby tells the father, you have that quality, I'm going to have it. Whatever you do, I'm going to do the same. I will surprise you. I may even excel you. So that's what Div Buddhya Tadanshika. Atma Buddhya Tavaivaham. Atma Buddhya, the essential nature, what's the reality within. The reality behind your soul is same Brahman. Your soul is like a reflected sun in the waters of your mind. And when you come to discover what the reflected sun is, it is nothing but the sun. It never became separated from the sun. The question of separation, etc., is built up by the water. The mind has created all that. During the time when Rama prepares to fight against Ravana, many details I have skipped over, just to give you a certain highlight into chariot of dharma. Vibhishana, out of the three brothers, Ravana, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishana, they represent three modes of nature, gunas. Ravana is rajas, rajasic. Kumbhakarna goes on sleeping, is tamas. Vibhishana is sattva. Sattva plays a great role. Go on developing sattva quality of generosity, quality of goodness. Be good, but never be just be good, gooder. Constant be more and more good. That movement allows sattva in you to play the role of Vibhishana. Instead of, in the beginning, sattva is helping you to be prosperous, successful in the world. In advanced state, sattva is helping you to develop devotion to God. And in this process, sattva is allowing you to have all the insights how to deal with negativity within. And instead of being outfoxed by negativity, you outfox them. Instead of being dominated by your negative, you let negative be sublimated by you. Vibhishana goes on helping. So, in the storyline, Ravana is coming in his big chariot. And here is a Rama, just ordinary appearance, not even a shield on his body, just normal clothes, etc. And no chariot. Vibhishana says, "Oh Lord, how can you battle against that without chariot?" Then Rama says, the real chariot is called Dharmamaya Rath, chariot of Dharma. This is a section from Lanka Kand in Tulsi Ramayana. Rama describes a mystic chariot, and I'm just giving just the highlights. Sri Rama said to his friend Vibhishana, "Listen, my friend, the chariot that leads one to victory is quite a different type. It is a chariot of dharma. Shauraj, Dhiraj, Dhaja, Pataka. Shauraj, Sanskrit word is Shaurya. Shaurya means valor. When you bring Sha in your heart, Sha is Kalyan, magnanimity, great awakening of great power. Awakening of all that is good is Sha movement. And that type of strength that brings all positivity to yourself, when it blossoms in your heart, that's called Shaurya. That detail I can't go through. So, Shaurya, valor. Dhiraj, Dhairya, fortitude. That is spiritual valor. And again, patience. These are the wheels of the chariot. Truthfulness is the dhwaja, banner. Satyameva jayate. Truth alone triumphs. Shield is another type of smaller symbolism called pataka. Banner has something more detailed presentation. This old style chariot, they used to have big banner. And then there is also a small little flag. That flag is shield. Shield term means righteous conduct. Bala, Vivek, Dhamma and Parahit, these are the horses. Bal is spiritual strength. Vivek, discriminative intellect, intellect that shows difference between self and not self, between truth and falsehood. Dhamma, control of senses. Parahit, doing good to others. These are the four horses. Spiritual strength, discriminative intellect, control of senses, doing good to others. Now the horses are tied to cords, the reins that must control the horses. The cords are Kshama, Kripa, Samata. Kshama, forgiveness. Kripa, being gracious. Don't have all grace coming from God. Learn to imitate God. Be gracious. Graciousness means somebody has done harm to you. Don't write it down, don't take a picture about it. Be gracious, forget about it. Bring out the good quality in others instead of constantly stamping them with a negative quality. Compassion works that way. Samatha, equanimity of mind. So if you have this forgiveness, compassion, mind remains balanced. Your horses are under control. Ish bhajan is the driver. The driver means if your mind is singing the glory of God, bhajan is not done just verbal prose type of recitation. You sing it. You may say, I'm not a musician. Doesn't matter. If your spiritual movement gives you thrill, you are singing it, whether you know it or not. You are dancing. So that Ish bhajan, your chariot moves, and what's the highlights in the movement? Ish bhajan. Mind enjoying japa, Ishwara smaran, putting God within the mental realm. Charity is the axe. This old time instruments held by warriors. Axe used to do amazing work of destroying inimical forces. Charity does amazing deeds. But charity doesn't simply mean charity of wealth. If someone is feeling miserable, instead of saying, oh, you did a lot of bad karmas, now look. Charity means, how will you handle that type of pain? First to understand and develop a mental attitude, like a mother's attitude towards a baby. Encourage the person not to worry, but bring out something good in the person, that person overcomes weakness without being scolded. That's an art. And if that you have developed it, that's called charity. Charity is the axe that goes on destroying many negative forces. There's nothing in the culture. If charity were to develop in the heart, imagine what will you hear through the news break. Otherwise, all that is uncharitable words go on coming out. Buddhi is Shakti Prachand, is a lance, a powerful instrument that demolishes demoniac force. Buddhi is purified intellect, allowing the jnana, spiritual knowledge, to develop. Your intellect should be nourished by spiritual knowledge, that type of intellect. And jnana. Jnana is a relentless bow. The more your mind becomes embellished by jnana, knowledge, greater its capacity to send out powerful thoughts. It becomes like a bow that allows thoughts, arrows to be sent out. Amal achal. Mind. is the quiver. Quiver is a case where all the arrows are placed. Amal means pure, taintless. Mind that is amal, purified mind. And therefore, mind that is steady, not shaking in its opinions. That type of mind is your quiver. Don't shiver. You have all the arrows you need. And what are the arrows? Shama, Yama, Niyama. Serenity. Yama relates to all practice of ahimsa. Ahimsa, Satyam, Brahmacharya, Asteya. All great observances are called yamas. Observances, put it more strictly, all restraints are called yama, what you should not do. All observances are called niyama, what you must do. All these are the arrows. Vipra Guru Puja is the impenetrable coat of mail, Avad Abhed Kavach. What protects you most is satsanga-based support. That's your kavach, armor. Described in these terms, Vipra Guru Puja. Vipra refers to those who are guiding on the spiritual path. And Guru, of course, is the leader of the guiding process. So if you are well guided and satsanga nourished, then you are well armored. My friend, whoever possesses such a chariot of dharma shall have no enemy to conquer anywhere in the world. You will end up with tremendous frustration. No enemy. And that's the characteristic of infinite fulfillment. And with this I'm going to conclude. ओम ओम श्री रामाय नमः। ओम श्री रामाय नमः। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षयमामृतात्। ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम हरि ओम। ओम श्री रामाय नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय।